I've been unemployed for a week tomorrow. Happened out of nowhere.
Today I am quitting my job as a teacher.
But every week I'm applying to at least 10 jobs online. It says like how many people have applied, and it's always like in the thousands, like it's so ridiculous.
So I should be back in Australia right now, but I'm not because I can't find a job. Even after living there for 3 years, it is just as hard to try and find yourself a job as it was when I first moved there.
Australia's unemployment rate has jumped from 4.3 to 4.5%, according to the latest figures from the Bureau of Statistics.
The unemployment rate now is at a 4-year high, so the highest level since November 2021, which is the COVID pandemic period, where parts of Australia were in various stages of lockdown. A lot of people are reporting it's been harder to find work compared to a few years ago.
So I thought, instead of going all the way back to Australia from the UK, where it's going to cost me an arm and a leg to live when I don't have an income, I could just come back to Sri Lanka and live here for another month whilst I apply for jobs. But the reality is I actually still haven't found a job, and I head back to Australia to start all over again in 2 weeks.
Australia's job market is broken.
It is really hard to find a job in Australia in 2025, and I cannot stress it enough.
It's a pretty big blow to the mental health. You've been searching for so long. It feels extremely competitive as well. It's like, what am I doing wrong?
In 2025, Australia's so-called booming economy is a cruel joke. With unemployment ticking up and wages flatlining, everyday Aussies, especially millennials and Gen Z, are left scraping by in the face of rent increases and cost of living pressures orchestrated by faceless overlords.
I think it could be in worse shape than what the RBA is anticipating. Employers are becoming a lot more selective about skills alignment, and so that does fit in with this overall idea that the jobs market is softening.
Aussies are not just struggling. We're being systematically victimized, forced to hustle harder for less while the top dogs feast on our bones. The truth is, job hunting in 2025 is soul-crushing from day one.
My contract was set to end the start of August, but they pushed it forward and let me go last week without any reason. In my mind, I had 2 months to look for a job, right? And then now it's just been pushed forward. The job market is quite literally, and there's just a lack of roles in that department. And I'm applying for all these roles and I'm getting so many rejection letters, and I'm just like, what is even the point? If you're on LinkedIn, you can see how many people have applied for one specific role. The job will be up for an hour and already over 100 applicants have applied. Now, why the would I want to apply to that? Because I'm literally 1 out of 100. I'm 1 out of 100.
These stories aren't outliers, they're the new normal.
Mobile phone technicians in Sydney, what sort of formalised qualifications do I need to get so I can get your job? I know that this sounds crazy because I've applied multiple places and I have the experience of repairing tech over 15 plus years. See this MacBook screen right here, how it's a different colour from the actual bezel itself? Yeah, well, I've replaced the screen within 2 weeks of me owning the MacBook because I broke it. I have another MacBook right over there on the other side of the room, and I have replaced the battery, the hard installed battery myself, with just using a hairdryer. Every single one of the tech items that I have owned is either secondhand or I bought it broken and then I have repaired it myself. I just want to get out of hospo. I'm just not mentally stimulated enough in my job. So please, I need some advice and assistance. Thank you.
The overlords have flooded our jobs and the job market with barriers, mass migration, ghost jobs, insane competition, minimum wages that are unlivable.
Have you ever submitted a job application and then never heard back? To whom it may concern. Ever. Turns out that job might not exist. One expert estimates a third of job ads in Australia are ghost jobs. Ghost jobs are job ads that the employer has no intention to hire for, or the job has already been filled. I spent hours on this. One red flag is if the job ad is more than 30 days old and if you don't get a response back for a couple of months. What's the point of putting the ads up then? Yeah, it sounds like a waste of time, but for the employer, it makes the company look like it's doing well and means they have a recent group of applicants if a job does come up. It can also make overworked staff feel like the company is doing something to help them, like hiring more staff to help them.
People say I am the best boss.
Yeah, I'm a debt collector by day and beautician by night.
Which one do you prefer?
Oh, definitely the beauty. It's what I've always wanted to do.
And so when did you make the decision to get a second job?
In March this year.
And how's it been?
It's been hard. Yeah, I've been really struggling the last few months.
Talk me through the routine you go through.
Well, I work a full day at my first job and then I get ready and drive a half an hour to my second job. and then I work till 9 o'clock with no break.
And talk me through the financial situation you're in so that this is the reality. You have to juggle 2 jobs.
Yeah, well, I rent and I live by myself and I have 2 cats, so everything just doesn't add up really. My little bit of savings has been dwindling. Sometimes I have to have cereal for dinner because just the last week before I get paid monthly and there's just no money left.
Double jobs are on the rise. Does that surprise you?
No, not at all. Anyway, even one of my friends got a second job. Like we're all suffering, especially our single ladies.
They are ensuring that the average Australian is always chasing shadows, overworking us to the point of exhaustion so that we are too exhausted to put up a resistance and too brain dead to question the rig setup.
Being an apprentice tradie nowadays in Australia is the amount of work that we do does not compare or match up for the amount of money that we make. But you don't actually realise until you're about halfway through that you're stuck. And for me, the past couple of months, I've really started to realise that this could be me for the rest of my life, which has now filled my mind with all these worries. You know, I've got my missus and we're going to have a future family together. Is this going to be enough to provide for my family?
What has your experience been? Drop your comments down below. And if you value this content so far, please leave us a like and sub to help the algorithm spread this video to more Australians. Now let's continue with the job market situation. The big corporate companies are not helping. If you have ever worked in finance or HR in a big company such as the banks, you will recall the 2008 global financial crisis. Back then, as it is now, mass layoffs aren't random, they are premeditated cullings. Every company has a 3-year budget. And just when you thought you're safe from this round of the axe, little did you know that the management team has already planned for your job loss within the next 12 months worth of further layoffs. And right now, it looks like we are at the point just before the global financial crisis again.
Good afternoon. Telstra workers are learning if they're among the 2,800 people to be sacked in newly announced mass job cuts. Close to 9% of the workforce is being shown the door, the majority to go by the end of the year.
Telstra has announced it's shedding hundreds of staff from its workforce, but denies they're being replaced by AI.
550 jobs will be slashed across the business, and that's on top of the 2,800 cut last year, which means close to 11% of the total workforce has been shown the door in 14 months.
The telco claims the purge has nothing to do with its additional investments into artificial intelligence. The CEO says it's a difficult but necessary reset for the company.
Our industry and the world we are operating in is fast changing. We have new and different competitors, rapid advances in technologies happening, customer needs continue to evolve, and we have ongoing inflationary and cost pressures.
Telstra announced a $700 million plan in January to spread AI capabilities throughout the business.
Some CEOs deny and lie, while others blatantly admit in open public that in 2025, the key driving forces for mass job cuts are because of artificial intelligence and automation.
I am starting to get a little bit concerned about this. We are seeing more companies announce layoffs, particularly for white-collar workers. The big risk here is they might see more of this. It could turn out to be the thin edge of the wedge.
Other employers in Australia, like Westpac, Telstra and Atlassian, are also axing staff.
Westpac is axing 200 telejobs as part of a national digital-first strategy. Customers will be steered towards the app, with many concerned about what it means for face-to-face banking.
Staff were told in an email yesterday 200 teller roles will be axed. And for Australians who head into a Westpac branch, it means fewer staff at the counter. But the finance sector union has slammed the move, warning it will strip away essential face-to-face banking, accusing the bank of putting profit before people.
A concierge guiding them to an app is no replacement for a trusted teller who can actually handle their complex banking tasks with empathy.
Figures show that advertising for tech jobs is plunging, down 18% in a year.
In tech, there's been a lot of focus on AI and growing AI roles, but that does mean that you need to look at those sort of other roles and whether they're still needed. We've seen a lot of middle management.
Listings for engineering, insurance and superannuation roles are also disappearing. Overall, job ads are down 5% in the last 12 months.
I think it's true of any technology that some tasks may be automated. Ultimately, what we've been able to see before is that people have migrated to higher value work.
It was a dark day for workers at Australia's 4th largest bank, ANZ staff towing the company line. 3,500 jobs will go by next September, around 8% of its global workforce. Another 1,000 contractors will also be axed. Staff who worked for Suncorp Bank when it was taken over by ANZ in 2024 are protected under the bank's obligations to the federal and Queensland governments. The restructure will cost the bank $560 million before tax.
It is simply outrageous, this behaviour. If we can't rely on one of our most profitable top 10 ASX companies in this country to employ and offer good jobs, I'm not sure what we can rely on.
In the case of ANZ, you will be interested to know that last year by 31st of July 2024, they finalised an acquisition deal that had been going for 2 years. They essentially bribed the Queensland government to have Suncorp Bank sold to them through the arrangement of an incentive package. And the Suncorp shareholders got a huge payout at the end of the 2025 financial year. The Queensland government was initially unwilling to approve the sale due to concerns over banking competition. And also because Suncorp is a major employer. It is one of the only banks left to have its headquarters left in Queensland. But evil money always wins. And in the end, Suncorp was sold to ANZ. Then, because the Suncorp employees were protected under the terms of this bribery, they were kept safe for the next 5 years. But after that, who knows? So they can't axe the new staff, and have decided to axe their own loyal employees instead. Mass job cut announcements are getting more and more cold, harsh, and impersonal. They really don't care who they cut nowadays, as long as it is one headcount.
Some grim news today that could well be a portent of more to come as 150 jobs disappear in the tech industries. The jobs are to be cut from Atlassian, the Sydney-based global software success story that's made billionaires of its local founders. As The Australian reported, Cannon Brooks appeared in a hoodie from his home office, springing the news on 150 staff that they would be laid off and replaced, in large measure, with artificial intelligence. With Cannon Brooks saying customer complaints in future would likely be handled largely through AI.
It's probably learning to fire people quickly enough. Actually, if I had to have one big mistake, the only times we've made huge egregious errors is where we've let someone who was a good person in the wrong job stay around for too long.
Traditionally, when your job is being axed, you were at least called into an emergency meeting room. And the Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne offices are all linked to the same video conference. And while you're scrambling to find a spare chair, the managers break the news that you might as well forget the chair and just pack up. They have made your job redundant. Nowadays, the bosses have it easy. No need to look at the facial expressions of horror and shock from their axed employees. No need to see the distress on their faces or fear the risk of direct confrontation and demands for why. Nowadays, as a boss, you can just send a cold email with a PowerPoint of the restructure. And the good news is, the new structure and everyone who is left with a job, they are all your buddies who suck up to you. Usually the ones who talk a lot and do not work. Oh, and even better. With the recent trends of TikTok and Instagram, it seems like the corporate CEOs have also learned to use video. As in the case of Atlassian's cold video redundancy announcement. Its founder CEO can go on a keynote speech in front of a large crowd when the crowd hails him as a genius. But he is too cowardly to face even one disgruntled staff. A staff whose livelihood that he has snatched away, the mother who can no longer feed her kids, the father who is a single parent and has to pay for childcare. All done and fired in a short sweet 90 seconds. And if you have any issues, don't worry. Just send your concerns to the email managed by artificial intelligence that nobody reads anyway. At least, not a real human.
Natalie McDonald lost her job at LinkedIn this year as part of wider layoffs at the tech company owned by Microsoft.
And I woke my partner up and told him and just sat there and wondered, what am I going to do next? I had a really great payout, but you do have that fear of what happens when the money runs out. I have 2 small children.
One of our biggest government departments is culling more than 1,000 jobs.
950 Transport for New South Wales jobs will go from a workforce of about 30,000. That's on top of 300 senior executives, with more cuts to New South Wales Rail Link to come.
What a week for Australia's banking sector, huh? ANZ, NAB and Bendigo Bank all announcing mass job cuts set to impact thousands of Aussies.
The total, if you add them all up, including the announcements that had already been made by CBA and Westpac, you're looking at just shy of 6,000 jobs. Now, in a big picture sense, I guess you can say, well, that's less than 0.1% of the workforce in Australia. But for those people affected, and for bank customers who might be affected, it's actually quite significant.
Everyone, it feels like it's 2019 again.
I was just wondering if you guys are hiring at the moment. I've been searching for a job since April this year. I was working full time. I went to travel for a little bit. I came back and it was just nothing. Like, I was applying to all these places online, in person, and just nothing. Not hiring at the moment. All right, thank you so much. Probably doing like 5 to 10 in-person resumes a week, but every week I'm applying to at least 10 jobs online.
The mass layoffs in Australia are already here. Just like in 2019 before the 2020 crisis, just like in 2007 just before 2008, the next financial crisis and recession has already begun. And what can you do about it? On this channel, I hope that these videos don't only become a whinge session, but also gives you practical steps to help yourself. So if you want to keep up to date with how the Australian recession is going to unfold, and join a community where we help each other survive this crisis, please like, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell. And now, let's get back to practical things you can do to prepare for the next crisis. First, you have to cut costs. You need to start saving every dollar like it's the last paycheck you'll ever receive. Then, just as we had seen toilet paper run out in a crisis, you can bet that during the next recession or shortly after, inflation is going to run up higher and higher, just like the prices of eggs at Woolies. So, you need to start building up your nest egg. Go to the sales when Woolies, Kmart, and Coles are on half price. Buy canned tuna, buy rice, flour, get a vacuum sealer from Kmart and vacuum seal them. Then store them in food-safe airtight containers. They will last for many years in your pantry or a cool dry place. If you know that inflation is coming and you might be out of a job, cancel your planned holidays. Get a refund from Airbnb before your cancellation due date. And also, start saving up for bigger things. Aim to have at least 6 months' rent saved up, 6 mortgage payments saved up, $1 extra at a time. Trust me, all these little things help you to be more resilient. And just in case your car is plummeted in the next Queensland hail or Lismore flood, you will know that you at least have a small reserve of Australian dollars set aside. Withdraw some of your money as cash so that if there is a blackout, you can still go to the petrol station and pump fuel, as per what happened to my family in 2011 Queensland floods. So many of our arguments at home are because we are financially troubled. So don't waste any money. See it as a way to keep peace. Because what's for sure is that our employers are not going to treat us as anything more than a payroll number. The government is not going to be coming to our help. Do you remember? These are the things they did to us. Until this day, we have not recovered.
Victoria has now notched up 200 days in lockdown since the start of this pandemic. It's a grim milestone.
Once upon a time, these streets were alive with the sights and smells of great food, coffee, and the sounds of people enjoying the hustle. Now, all we're famous for is one of the world's longest and most restrictive lockdowns, second only to London.
To close businesses down, to destroy families, to destroy children's education, the way we're doing here in Victoria is just madness.
200 days stuck at home.
Just battered. We're at our wits' end.
It just feels like this is the never-ending story.
And today's numbers aren't helping. Everyone has a view on the country's lockdown capital.
I think we're the laughingstock. Exhausted.
You could hear how desperate Melbourne traders already were months ago.
How much more can a person take?
If they pull away JobKeeper now, that's like taking the runner's shoes off when he's 50 metres from the running line.
Have literally no funds left to continue supporting our staff. We need to be allowed to work. I have never in my life not worked from the day I turned 14. To be told that I'm not allowed to work, to be told that my human right to earn an income is not allowed, it's incomprehensible.
We're going to have to shut up shop.
Too many unanswered questions, too many mysteries for us to safely come out of lockdown now. We've been made a priority.
A heckler at today's press conference was tackled by police, while the Premier maintained that it's the only option.
So the government really needs to rethink this because this is not fair for those border communities.
The border with New South Wales will again be strengthened. All bubble residents will need a permit to enter Victoria from Friday.
The state that our country is in is ridiculous. It is time that we stand up, become resilient and help ourselves. When we help ourselves, as seen each time we get a major flood, bushfire, or natural disaster event, we bring out the true Australian spirit, our sense of community, doing our best to lend each other a helping hand.
Fourth one we've had in a matter of 3 weeks. Another one's coming again.
We had to pack up, put everything up on higher ground.
And when all the water vanished, streets of ruin and mountains of mud. It was more than people could bear alone. Thankfully, they didn't have to. a flood of volunteers lifted spirits.
It's just amazing. My family was so worried about me because they don't live in Brisbane, and when I told them about how people were going to help me, they broke down too. They just can't believe it.
This is the true Australia, and we need to educate the mass immigrants who come into our country that this is how you behave as new Australians, not some TikTok bandana flag waving propaganda.
All right, everyone, we need everyone to clear